No, there's some. No, that's how you got to present it to him if you're actually going to ask.
No, you're right. You trying to go with me?
When is it?
I don't know. I'm just...
Dude, I didn't even know Eddie Bravo did stand-up, man.
He does.
Is that how he's
stand-up.
famous? Why do I think that he was like an MMA fighter?
No. He's jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
He's like a legend. He's like top 5 all time in jiu-jitsu.
No shit.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Well, I knew he had something to do with fighting. I didn't know that he did comedy, though.
Yeah, he does. He does like it's like a 5 or I think he had that 15-minute skit. You know, they got him and Joey Diaz and, like I said, Sam Tripoli, and then just a whole bunch of, you know, MMA guys and some other dudes. And I haven't listened, but be interesting.
Yeah.
All I know is that's how I'm going to get him. Dude, I have Facebook, Instagram, no way to email him.
You even need to bring that up. Be like, hey, I'm that creepy motherfucker that keeps hitting you up on all fucking social media platforms to try to get you on our show.
I've slowed it down, though, man. I've slowed it down. You
got to pump it up, man.
Yeah, you're right.
You just need to blast him. You need to get it to the point to where you have annoyed him to where the only way that he can make it to stop is to come on the podcast.
Dude, Eric Dubé is nice enough to actually respond to my request to join the show, and he said that he's too busy. He's done doing interviews for now. But I had messaged him on Facebook, and I was like, hey, man, what is the best way to get a hold of Eddie Bravo? And I was like, you don't have to answer. But then he did, and he's just like, I've already told you guys this, but he's just said, keep hitting him up on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, no, let's take his advice, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll catch him on a good day or whatever, or, you know, the squeaky wheel's the one that gets the oil, man. So that's how you need to approach it.
So I'm the squeaky eel? I'm the squeaky eel?
Squeaky wheel.
Squeaky wheel.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil.
So you're saying Eddie Bravo's going to give me some oil?
Yeah, he's going to give you his oil, bro.
I'm so pumped for that, man. Yeah. So pumped. What the fuck's going on, Jesse, Johnny? Welcome to Talk Junkie. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome to my abyss, my house. I just want to...
My abyss
house? My abyss?
Yeah,
my what?
My abyss. Sorry, dude. I don't know if you guys realize behind us what fucking Jordan Nostov made for us.
It's fucking glorious, man.
It's all right. No, I'm just kidding. It's dope.
It's beautiful, man. Beautiful.
I love it.
Dude just like Snapchatted me last week, just nonchalantly, like while I was watching the Chiefs game at my wife's parents' house while they were cooking barbecue. Opened the snap, and it was just the letters. There was no backdrop, and I'm like, no fucking way. You are the man. You are ultimate. You are my child.
My child. No, I didn't realize, because I saw a picture of it too. I didn't realize the size of it. I didn't know it was that big. I didn't realize it was that fucking big, man. That's fucking big.
Yeah, he even like just textured. I mean, he painted the Talk Junkies white, but then he put some gray on it too. You know, like weathered it a little bit. Looks really good, man.
Yeah.
Anyone out there who does a podcast or does anything on YouTube and you like what Jordan did, hit us up, man. Send us a message on YouTube, and Jordan would do some shit, man.
He'll do some wood crafting.
Yes.
That's what he does.
He built this table that we have everything sitting on right now as well.
Yeah.
So appreciate you, JD Bo.
Table. I set this down on the table. Just
fucking collapses.
Collapses.
So dude? You guys smoke Juuls, right?
No.
Yeah, no. This bet. There it is.
Dude, they're Juul podding it up, man. What's up with Juul Pods?
All day, every day, man.
I heard that there's a chance that you may.
It's gonna kill me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna kill you.
No, it's not.
But that's what media's saying. It's what the government's saying.
I remember we actually got a YouTube comment from a listener that.
Oh yeah.
That's
when I had
a little bit of discourse.
That's when I had the vape though.
Oh, that wasn't the Juul Pod. That was the actual vape. That had a very negative comment.
This is kind of off topic though, but whenever like I'm expoing and Johnny brings his food in, it says the blob. Because he knows I'm expoing, and I'm gonna look at the ticket. It's pretty funny.
Well, what's so funny about the blob?
He brings it in as that's the to go. So as I'm looking at whose food it is, it just says the blob.
That's what she said in the comment.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's not off topic at all.
How dare he smoke and give them that blah 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 in their lungs and stuff as you're also over here hitting a Juul,
my Juul
at the exact same time.
See, this is a reasonable amount.
Like, do you really think I'm gonna disrespect my friend's house that much that he's not okay with it? That he doesn't know? Like, come on.
Hey,
come on,
some good times. But so you guys
do we have that person's YouTube account? Can we shout out that YouTube account? No, just kidding. We wouldn't never do that.
Don't do that.
We never put you on blast like that.
Her picture though, I remember her picture, like whatever profile pic or whatever for YouTube, was very much something that I can't remember quite what it said. It was like love everybody or live let. I'm dead serious, bro.
Yeah, treat everyone with respect.
Yeah, no, that's
the
basically
fucking fat blob fucking filling the room up with poison toxins.
It was great.
Yeah. There's some irony there.
So are you guys gonna die from vaping, or am I gonna die from smoking cigs?
My money is that I'll probably that won't be the cause of death for me. Is gonna be a Juul pod, because what's weird is if you look at how long do you say they've been around, like 12 years prominently, like not Juul Pods but just vaping in general. I'd say at least a decade.
Yeah,
like maybe give or take a couple years, but there really hasn't been. I mean, I heard of the popcorn lung thing, like people had, some, but no deaths or anything like that. It's only been up until recently, as of the past year, that there have been 8 deaths to Juul-related lung disease. And so now there's this uproar that it needs to be regulated, and you said it was Michigan?
Michigan, okay, so Michigan I don't know when it goes through. I don't know if it's already through, or if it goes through in January or what, but Michigan, this is so dumb. Michigan is banning all vaping products. So not just Juuls, by the way. All vaping products, all e-cigarettes of every type. They're banning them for 4 months exactly as a, what was the actual words? It was like a public health epidemic.
Yes. Because of the 8 deaths that have happened this year from Juul Pods. Now, before we go any farther into what we actually think is going on here with this, Paul, I think you had the number earlier whenever we were talking about this topic, pre-podcast. How many people die from cigarettes on a yearly basis?
Or cigarette-related
Cigarette-related illness.
It's like 450,000 people.
That's close to 8.
450,000 people a year. I'm pretty sure it's number 2 right behind coronary heart disease. The main killers, this might be worldwide. I know it for a fact it's United States. It's coronary heart disease is number 1. And then number 2 is like lung cancer and lung-related shit from smoking cigarettes. Now you get into an uproar because 8 people died from Juul Pods. But man, nothing's ever done about cigarettes, man.
And how does that not echo into the minds of anyone who's read this story, right?
That they should find it a little outlandish?
You would think, right?
Yeah.
But the amount of people that I have seen, there's a good amount of people who do find it outlandish. But I've talked to people who are like, they come up to me and you're like, I'm not going to call anybody out by name, but I've actually had this conversation with people that we know who have come up to me and been like, you know that those are like killing people, right? And I'm like, you know that you should read more.
Right. Yeah, no. I've had people at gas stations go, and they're so misinformed on this that have literally told me, hey, man, you might as well buy up as much as you can right now because all this is going to be illegal because of all the people it's fucking killing, man. He's like, man, they're cracking down on this. It's killing kids and shit and just fucking...
Well, no kid should be smoking anything. I mean, it's going to happen.
Juul got in trouble for a while back because their advertisement was very much targeted to people under the age of 18.
For sure.
With the flavors and shit.
The flavors and, just all kinds of stuff. Which they did their, you know what I mean?
But, I mean, if you could only scroll back maybe 10, 15 years, maybe a little bit later than that, maybe 20 years, for sure in the 80s. Let's go back to the 80s. Cigarette companies literally had candy fucking cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I had candy cigarettes when I was...
It was 90s, too.
Yeah, man.
So it was 90s, too. So it was 90s. They had candy-ass fucking cigarettes. And then they had the chewing tobacco-style beef jerky.
Big League Chew.
Yep.
Oh, the chewing tobacco...
You remember the beef jerky that
Yes.
literally was packaged just like fucking chewing tobacco?
Yep.
And you're right. Big League Chew had the same fucking thing.
But, I mean, in the defense of that, they're both gone now.
That's
Big
true.
League Chew's still a thing.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just bubble gum that comes in a...
Man, I haven't seen that in fucking
It's
forever.
got a picture of like a baseball player on it and whatnot. It's very much, though...
Still tobacco related.
It's trying to get kids desensitized to the idea of these tobacco products, which you're right, shouldn't be a thing. And you're right, they have gotten rid of them.
In the defense of Big League Chew, there are big leaguers who chew bubble gum. And they
Very
will chew,
true.
and they will chew the
Very
bubble gum
true.
too. So But still, I could see the correlation for
Yes.
the tobacco.
It's mainly the first two that I said.
Yeah.
Mainly the first two. Maybe not so much Big League, even though there probably is.
I'm sure when they came out originally, there was definitely that
How do we
correlation
get
there.
kids involved. But the whole thing is, like, just because it's flavored, I don't know with that. So maybe that's okay. You get rid of flavored Juul Pods, but I think kids will.
Well, then there's still off-brands that make the flavored ones. You can literally go into the gas station right down the street from us, and they've got all these off-brand ones that are like blueberry, strawberry, watermelon, lemonade, ball sack.
Yeah. My favorite.
Well, I think it's scary the fact that just the state of Michigan can just instantly ban all.
Oh, it's pretty crazy.
All products like that for 4 months without any. Like, obviously, it had to have been a group of people who did this, or it was just the governor or whoever.
I don't want to sound uneducated on this. From what I heard, it's just the governor like using his power to do a state of emergency. It's like a state of emergency type of thing
But
that they're instituting. I could be wrong on that though, so don't quote me on that.
But you would think that there would be some kind of law set in place that for him to be able to declare that, there would have to be a certain amount of deaths and a certain amount of illnesses. Did it hit that number
Within that state,
or
too.
Can one person just fucking die from some shit? And they just ban the fuck out of something because one person died and they think that it was correlated to his death, or does it? Or
Depends
maybe
on the power of the. I don't
does it
know.
have to hit 8 people or 5 people? Okay, once it hits 5 people, then in a year we can then declare it an epidemic.
I don't know the power of like the executive branch and how that works because there are like.
But this argument is at a fail anyway, just because cigarettes fucking kill so many people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so you can still say that, okay, maybe Juul Pods fucking do kill people, but I have an opinion on this too, which I'll fucking get into. It's still safer than fucking cigarettes, though, and a better alternative, even with those numbers. Even with those numbers, that's a safer alternative.
Well,
and they're completely fine with...
Yeah.
I mean, they've raised the taxes on it or whatever.
Imagine the amount of people who have made a cigarette into wet, you know, or they lace it with a Primo, a cigarette with cocaine, and that shit kills people. And people who dip it into PCP or whatever, they'll dip their cigarettes. It's just that's maybe the same thing a little bit with flavoring on vapes. Granted, not to that scale.
No, not
you know what I'm
not
saying?
quite.
But to the point where it kills someone is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and
I
there's
got
nothing
you.
you can do about it because it's an illegal. It's illegal at that point. But I mean, vaping is nowhere near. I mean, 8 deaths in since what 12 years that they've been
I see.
out,
I see the correlation you're making now. I see what you're saying. When someone like dips a cigarette into, PCP or whatever, blah blah blah, that is no different than someone using a Juul improperly and getting an illegal THC cartridge.
Exactly.
See, but this is what would come up in the toxicology, though, is that the motherfucker was on PCP, and they're probably not questioning whether or not the fucking cigarette killed him. They're probably like, the PCP is what killed him, and the cigarette's not even.
But it's just
about.
like it's like a flavored vape, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In essence.
But this is the whole thing. Digging a little deeper into this whole thing, you end up finding out that there are not made by Juul, the company Juul, but by a separate company, not even in the United States, was making THC.
Chinese, right?
Yeah, it was. I believe it was Chinese. THC Juul Pods that fit the Juul Pod.
And
Now,
where would you get these THC Juul Pods? In Colorado or states that had it legal?
No, it's black market.
Black market, okay.
It's all done through black market sketchy shit. It's weird. Whenever these came out is when these incidents started happening, and then you had the 8 deaths and the almost like 600 people with the disease going to the hospital. So it's just weird that, all of a sudden there's this new THC illegal, not made by the Juul company, made pod that all of a sudden comes in, and then all of a sudden all these illnesses start happening. When people have been
vaping. I remember in high school,
people have been vaping for a very long time, and nothing like this has ever happened.
2008, 2009. I remember making fun of people who would do the whole like, "Oh man, look at the fat fucking clouds," blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But I'm like, so vaping has been around for a long time.
Nothing like this
and
has ever
all
happened.
of a sudden.
So continue, Jesse, with the with how this breaks down.
So it's just funny that all of a sudden, so like let's say I'm gonna put the scenario here that I put earlier before the podcast started. We were talking about this. I'm like, let's say you get your illegal THC Chinese sketchy ass pod. You go through a pod or two. All of a sudden, you start having all the symptoms of this lung disease. You then have to be hospitalized for it, and then they ask you, "Are you a smoker? Something's wrong with your lungs." You go, "No, but I use a Juul pod though." They're not gonna bring up the fact that they have an illegal overseas THC fucking pod that they're using. All they're gonna say is, "Yeah, I use a Juul." That is what I think where all this is coming from. And you have this now. You had another thing that actually added a little bit to it too.
Yeah.
Which I'll get into that. If you're,
Yeah, so I'm just saying that's funny that how all this is timed. Now you go on ahead and add in the other little piece to this.
So we all know that big tobacco, we all know that any large corporation has some influence in the pockets of politicians and so on and so forth. That happens. They, donate money for their campaigns and so on and so forth. We've all seen House of Cards once or twice. But big tobacco company Philip Morris, which I don't know off the top of my head if they're the biggest one in the United States, or like there's R.J. Reynolds, Philip Morris. Philip Morris owns like Marlboro and all that, so they're big fucking company. They were getting ready to do a merger with the company Altria. I think I'm saying that right. I think it's Altria or Altia, something like that, which is the one that owns Juul. They were getting ready to do a merger with them and become one giant company and make all the money and kill all the little innocent people for smoking and stuff. Anyways, the merger fell through, and then 2 weeks later, this happens.
The ban in Michigan happens. Specifically, the ban in Michigan, where they're completely, you won't be able to buy any vaping-related products for 4 months. What is that?
And I'm not saying it directly links. It's just kind of crazy that
It's just
that
all
Philip
weird
Morris, this
fucking
giant,
timing.
large tobacco company, is getting ready to merge with the company that does Juul, and then that falls through for whatever reason, doesn't work out, and now all of a sudden there's this like
Viability.
political war on vaping
on
and
these
Juul Pods
vaping
and stuff.
products.
When big tobacco obviously has more money than, I'm not just talking about Juul either. I mean any vaping product, big tobacco has more money than any of those companies.
Yeah.
They've been around longer. They've done the legwork.
Yeah, they've accumulated quite a fund.
So they have a lot of say-so.
Yeah, they have a lot of power. So it's just funny to see all these things take place, and I just think that it's just funny to hear like from the guy at the gas station and just like reading about it, and then the uproar that's going on about it right now.
And I think what we can notice is these people don't like their money being fucked with in any way, shape, or form. And who does, right?
And they've had to have lost money. Think about. I was talking about this with Jesse the other day. I used to smoke cigarettes. I quit, and this has helped me with that a lot. I'm not saying this is way healthier. I think I definitely think this is healthier than cigarettes. It's still got nicotine. It's still highly addictive, so on and so forth. I realize that. I accept that. My point is, though, being able to quit where I was smoking almost a pack a day, just under a pack a day, like 2 packs every 3 days kind of thing, since I was like 16 years old, basically. And to be able to just quit and go to this and the vape and whatnot, and so on and so forth. And I'm just one sample size. I'm just one person who's been smoking for years and years and years. And I quit because of this. And I'm just one person. Think how many other people out there have also done that.
Well, it's working.
Cigarettes have to be selling
Done
less.
the same thing for me.
Yeah.
I have the same story.
Same
as
for
John.
Jesse.
I have the exact same story.
Well,
I was a pack a day cigarette smoker. Struggled with quitting. Would always end up bumming cigarettes, because once you're a smoker, you're always a fucking smoker. I don't care what anybody says. Like you spend the rest of your life it's been, how long has it been since you had your last cigarette? Has it been 10 years? You're always a fucking smoker for the rest of your life. Anybody who fucking smokes for an extended period of time that really gets addicted to it, they know it. Like, you're a smoker for life. So to have a healthy alternative to where I literally don't crave cigarettes or fucking need cigarettes, and I can be around people and have them smoke cigarettes, and I have my Juul, and I have no temptation like whatsoever to fucking smoke a cigarette. I think that this is a very beneficial thing to society to have an alternative that is safer. I get it. I'm on the page with you that it's the best way to do it is to not fucking put
not
anything
do it at all,
in your
yeah.
fucking lungs. But I mean, you talk about something that I think is leaps and bounds safer than cigarettes.
Well, and everyone comes with that argument. Well, it just hasn't been in existence long enough to know what the implications are.
They've been around for a long time.
Exactly. And now all of a sudden we're having deaths. Like I said, these people don't like their money being fucked with. That's what's happening, and we see the result.
I think so too. I'm sure cigarette sales have dropped tremendously.
I mean, look at big oil. The same shit. If anything starts to affect them, they're going to do the same exact thing. These people are in position to make anything happen, and what is happening right now is what you're seeing, and that's a ban in certain states. And a ban everywhere with certain flavors of these vape pens.
I think what it really does is it's just another great example of the fact that capitalism, although I think is still the best way to, as far as an economic and a government system set up, I still think capitalism is the best way to go.
I don't think capitalism is the problem.
But it's not. But this is a product of it, and it's not a perfect fucking system.
This is a product
because
of political
it allows,
capitalism. Where
yes,
capitalism is going over into our politics, where politicians are allowed to take donations and money from giant companies.
So some laws need to be fixed here, because the second the government can come in and say, or because a big company has enough money to where they no longer give a shit about what's actually best for the people, and they can package it through media and whatever, because they have the money and resources to do so, and then twist some shit to their benefit just simply over money, when it actually is doing something good for society, like keep getting people off cigarettes.
I was going to say not really good, but better than
Better,
but
yeah.
better
than the
It's-
current status quo.
To me,
it will end up saving. It will end up adding on people's lives. People will live longer. I guarantee you, if you had side by side smoker and a fucking Juul Pod fucking vapor that even did a fucking Juul Pod a day, and the other guy did a pack of cigarettes a day, I guarantee you
don't go that far.
that I will go that far.
I wouldn't go that far.
I will go that far. I will go that far. I guarantee you the vapor will have better overall health
Okay.
after
like
50
that.
years of doing it.
To me, it's even a bigger. I think there's a bigger story to it. And whenever a governor has the authority to do exactly, Johnny, what you said, and ban something for 4 months, I think it's just a test on the state to see what else they could do. I mean, this is just a small sample size.
I didn't even think about it that way.
Whenever you're gonna do something on a massive scale like this, do it on something very small and minuscule. Because I guarantee, I don't know if one of the 8 people who died, or however many of the 500 cases of these people who were in the hospital from this vape lung or whatever. Or
I know that a lot of them were in California,
Right.
originally.
So
Or it was West Coast.
So
it
it
may
was-
not have been California. It may have been like Oregon.
very minuscule in the state of Michigan, but for them to come out and just ban something for 4 months for every citizen that lives there, imagine if there was some sort of shooting or mass shooting in Michigan, and then the governor says, boom, no guns for anyone for 4 months, or for a year, or for 2 years.
But I mean, they won't do that because the NRA is just like big tobacco.
I'm just saying, they're testing the waters, though, in my opinion. I think this is so small when it comes to smoking, especially when 460,000 or 500, however many I said died from cigarettes a year, and then this.
No, it's
just
literally
something small.
it's literally laughable that he can use his power to ban something when there is clearly something that has been killing people for fucking so much studies done on
How
this.
much different would it be if he came out and he said, we're going to ban all tobacco products?
Because this is an epidemic. People keep
It's an
dying from
epidemic.
this.
We're going to ban all tobacco products for 4 months. Think how that would go over with Philip Morris and R.J. Reynolds and...
No, that wouldn't fucking happen.
They
And I'm
would
a
sue- they would
libertarian.
sue
I
the
think
state.
I think people should be able to do whatever they want. I think companies should be completely open within their products. You don't make anything illegal, and then people make an informed decision on what to put in their body, whether it's healthy or not. That's always been my thing. I've said that so much on this podcast.
I don't know. They should be able to, if they come out, as long as they're transparent. Like if they come out with an energy drink that they're like half a can is 72,000 calories. I'd be like, okay, that's
super
I don't know how that's
aggressive.
possible. That's a little ridiculous, but like as long as you say that,
Yeah, and
fucking
it's
make your
full
product.
Fucking disclosure, like go on ahead and make your goddamn product. That's always been my thing. And then people are smart enough to decide what they do. You just don't make things illegal. That doesn't solve anything. But no, it's shitty to see somebody use their power for a laughable fucking thing whenever there's something that kills, like a 500,000 people a year, and then 8 people die because of this, and they claim it's a fucking epidemic.
And it's just laughable because not only for what you just said, but for the media and how much coverage this got whenever the story first leaked. And it hit every fucking media outlet in the United States. Everyone heard about it. Anyone who watches this news.
Teens dying from...
Yep.
There was...
So that's another thing, man. The state of our media is absolutely out of control for what they're able to put out there. And again, this started back in, I think it was the 70s or 80s, whenever there was a law passed to where media companies couldn't get in trouble for putting out propaganda. They couldn't get sued or anything like that. Like, they're basically untouchable. They can come out with whatever story they want, whether it's true or not, and get away with it. And this is what you see from result of that.
Well, they all like copy paste off of each other anyways. They all literally like one person yells it and then 50 others show up with a megaphone and do this exact same thing,
right? Because
it's what hot and it's what sells. I've always said, it always comes back to money. The media is there to make money. They are production, or they're companies, you know what I mean, like KCTV5 and CBS and all this stuff. Like that's a company that's there to make money, and they all just, if that's the fad right now, if that's the article that is getting the views, the clicks, the whatever, the advertising revenue, is the article about smoking and e-cigs and all this, every other media company is going to pick up on it, and that's the fad that we get hit with 3 weeks. We won't hear about this in like a month.
No, not at all.
We really won't. But right now, it's the fucking hotness.
And you're right. This is what's really fundamentally wrong with America, is the fact that they can just package and show you whatever. It's like, what does the 1% want the rest of the population to be upset about this next month, to push people in the right direction? It's literally a form of control. So why are we wasting our time watching any local news station, any like national, like Fox News, CNN? Why is anyone wasting their time watching these shows when you need to come to the realization that all this is to manipulate you and push you in a direction for someone else's benefit? Because that's all this fucking shit is.
Yes, 100%. Because and this is just the greatest example, and I love the way you just put it, Jesse. But I forget his name. But it wasn't Kavanaugh, but it was a different name. He's on Trump's side, and I was just watching it. He was getting questioned by the chairman of the Congress or whatever, or something. And, you know, you're under oath and all that shit. And they asked him, they said, well, why did you say this? And then they would pull up the video of him on CNN or him on Fox or him on MSNBC saying something. And he said, well, the news media lies so much. Whenever I'm on their show, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lie. I have no reason to be truthful because these people aren't truthful. So when you have people in positions and they're coming out,
it's pretty crazy when you think about it.
And like you said, people are watching this and they're like, well, man, he's telling the truth. I'm a Republican. He's a Republican. Fuck yeah, dude. I'm with that guy. Come to find out, he's just saying whatever you want to hear.
It's always been that way, though.
It's always been that way. There's some true evil behind that, though, is what ends up happening.
100%, man.
Without transparency within political officials and people in power, then so much evil will fucking happen because of that. It's inevitable. Absolutely inevitable without transparency. We need more transparency with these individuals. And we need to hold them more accountable.
We do.
For all these things, for the things that they say.
But
without a doubt.
We're so far gone, man. Like I said, I don't want to get into politics or anything like that. But with this Joe Biden shit and Trump, and they're trying to impeach him and shit, like they're saying that Joe Biden should be investigated. And again, I'm saying all this because I've watched so much YouTube and Fox News and shit. So they're getting to me, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you're biased too, due to the.
And I don't want to be biased. I'm just saying this for the sake of the podcast, for the fact that there's legitimately a clip of Joe Biden saying that he would not give $1 billion to the Ukraine government or whatever government it was if they did not fire a certain prosecutor. And then they told Joe Biden, well, you're not the president of the United States. Obama is. And he's like, well, why don't you give him a call right now? They fired the prosecutor because they were trying to prosecute or something involving Joe Biden's son. So he got the prosecutor fired over $1 billion.
So he was using his power basically and leverage to help his family out.
Exactly. And he's not getting investigated. Again, this is what they want us to see. All this shit that's happening, you know, it's just frustrating, man.
No, you can never. It's almost pointless to fucking watch the news because you don't know what's fucking truth and lies, and it's all just being fabricated.
That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me as being true, though. That's a pretty common occurrence in. Like I said, everything relates back to money. That's just a large-scale version of how our modern-day traffic ticket works,
for sure.
Where it's about money.
But that's what the Democrats are trying to get Trump on. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm a Trump supporter, blah, 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 blah. But they're trying to say Trump was withholding $300 million that Congress approved to give to Ukraine for weapons and military aid on a phone conversation, but Joe Biden did this and he's not getting investigated. But now they want to impeach Trump on something like this when Biden's done that before.
It's because those are the people who don't like Trump, and they liked Obama. So of course, the person that that's on your side, that's on your team, because that's what it is. It's split into two different teams. Well, they're on our team. They're doing it. We need to make sure that this gets swept under.
But how can
it's whenever it happens on the other side that all of a sudden it's awful.
And I've broken it down, man. Legitimately, I think I watch too much Fox News on YouTube because I don't get any recommendations to watch anything on the left. It's all the right. It's all the right. They have it broken down. AI or technology.
We talked about this the other night. I mean, you're just getting those recommendations because they already, YouTube and Cambridge Analytica and all that already know what you like to watch and what you want to watch and what is going to make you click on videos, and stay on YouTube instead of for 15 minutes, now all of a sudden you're on YouTube for an hour.
Yeah, they get more ad revenue.
Exactly.
It's all a money thing, but it's also
man, it's always.
But they have to manipulate you too, and then people want you to be manipulated and to listen to certain things.
How do we get into Cambridge Analytica, Talk Junkies, get recommended to everyone? Man, we need to do something to get into that fucking algorithm.
I don't know, maybe $2.5 million. We'd be able to get some a serious campaign going, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone would be listening to us if we had that kind of money.
Yep.
We spend $30 on some new equipment. And then the other $2.5 million minus $30 spent on, digital influence on personality profiles of people to force them to watch us.
Fuck.
I hate to say that, but you can do that already right now. That's just called, advertising. Like posting the videos on Facebook.
But the whole point is it's manipulated advertising because
that's a more extreme version
the profile, and they know how to get people to watch if they just package it this way, which still is a form of manipulation.
Yeah, but it's just pretty extremely successful advertising.
Is all advertising manipulation?
Yes, that's exactly what advertising is.
Holy fuck, man. I didn't even fucking think about that.
That's what I'm saying. Like this whole, the Cambridge Analytica, the stuff we talked about on the deck the other night, the Cambridge Analytica thing, and the whole, how everybody has a profile of them uploaded online that, they know about the stuff you're going to think about before you do, They know specifically that I get drunk and look up cars that I want to buy at this specific time, so they know to add car whatever ads into Facebook at that time when I'm looking at Facebook. Like, that's been around for years. We all know this, so on and so forth. That's literally just the most effective version of advertising right now. They've just got it down to a science.
I think it's more than. I think there's more to it than that, though.
I honestly don't, and this is where we differ, because we both, there's some shady shit going on. There's always shady shit going on, but I don't think it's a control thing. I really don't. I stick with the fact that I think it's about money. It's always about money.
I'm with that. I'm with that 100%. But I think there are times where I've legitimately said something out loud, and then got on Facebook, and then I was recommended to that thing.
I don't
There's
think
no way that they knew there's no way they knew I was going to say that, and then not even 5 minutes later, I get on Facebook, I'm scrolling, and I want to buy a Cadillac,
we've talked about this,
We've been
Paul.
over this, and it's way scarier. It's way scarier.
It's more terrifying than that. It's not that if they were listening, that wouldn't be as bad as what they're actually doing.
They know your psychological profile. They literally are. They know what you're.
Then we have AI at that
thinking.
point. There's no way.
That's AI is doing it. You don't think that's AI?
I mean, it's VI.
It's not. But I mean, okay, you're right. It's not okay. So it's not thinking on its own, but it is a program that is designed to understand how humans are going to think.
So I'm sitting in my room and I talk about. I just say out loud, yeah, I'm looking at these Cadillac STVs, the SUV Cadillacs. And then not even 5 minutes later, I get on Facebook and I'm scrolling through, and now
is it on your TV? Is it on your TV?
No, it's on my cell phone, and it's saying, and it recommends buying the same Cadillac I was just talking about.
Hold up,
5 minutes
here's the thing. This is the crazy part, Paul. It's not listening to you. It doesn't know that you were just talking about it. It's scarier than that. It knew from everything that you've done in all your online activity, from everything, from the websites you go to, from the YouTube video watched to the porn video you watched. Like, they know exactly that at around that time of that day, you will be thinking about Cadillacs.
I try to keep it minimal on my phone.
It doesn't
really
matter.
Do.
It doesn't matter.
All of our profiles, and I have zero social media presence. They probably already have a very extensive.
They get it from. They know when you order Pizza Hut. You know what I mean? So they know how often you're eating out. They know how much you're spending on that kind of stuff.
There's a tracker on everyone's phone. Yeah, 100%.
They know all that, and they put it into an algorithm, like you said, an AI, which is actually a VI, a virtual intelligence. They put it into all this, and they basically, like Jesse said, have a psychological profile on you and know how you think as a person and what you're going to think about at certain times before you do.
I bet you that these companies that do that literally have almost a little blacklist of individuals that they think could be fucking terrorists, and shooters and stuff like that, and like mass shooters.
I would agree.
Now, if you had that kind of information, and let's say you wanted a fucking mass shooting to happen, could you? I know this is going really fucking far out.
That's
super fucking. But if they already can do shit like that, like if it's really that good, to where they knew what to put in front of Paul digitally because of his profile, and they knew his location on his phone because nobody reads their fucking agreements whenever they sign onto apps, and next thing you know, you're giving away all of your information, your location. Company knows physically where you are in the world all the time because no one's without their phone. They're tracking your motions, everything. They have this great idea of a fucking profile. Let's say, okay, man, this person's fucking personality traits real close to a fucking what a mass shooter could be. Let's say if they needed something to fucking happen. Companies could even influence that and like in all kinds of shit. I know that's going real fucking in depth, but that would not surprise me one bit if they could fucking push somebody over the edge that was fucking close to it, and then when they want some shit to fucking happen in their benefit. I know that's going really far.
Yeah, that's a push. It's crazy that they would have the ability to do that if they wanted to.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit though.
No, not at all.
Real quick to drive home this, which we talked about this last week, but we did not talk about it on the podcast. We talked about it outside.
Right.
But to help people out there, to help the viewers understand what I'm talking about with this whole VI, Cambridge Analytica thing and so on and so forth and the psychological profile, the perfect example of them not actually like listening in, but how it all works together is I look up cars a lot. They know to show me car ads because I've been looking into buying vehicle, so on and so forth. Cortland comes over. He drives a Jetta. They know he drives a Jetta. Just like they know what I drive kind of thing. Like they know based on what you look up, the products you look up. He got the bike rack for the top of his vehicle. They know he drives a Jetta. They literally see GPS, the fact that, and I know this sounds so like conspiracy theory insane, but they've already proven it. They've already done research on this and proved that they actually do this kind of stuff.
There's a documentary on it.
Yeah, there's multiple papers on it and everything.
It's called The Great Hack. It's really good.
And that's just a dumbed down documentary for us to understand.
Yeah.
Anyways, Cortland comes over to the house, right? They now know that his phone is near me, meaning that Cortland is there. They know Cortland is at my house. They know that we both like cars and both like talking about cars, so why wouldn't we talk about cars at the exact same time when we're both in the same location? So then all of a sudden, for just a brief amount of time, my fucking ads on Facebook changed to Volkswagen and Jetta ads.
Yeah, that's
bro.
Funny.
Isn't that insane? Because I know Cortland, and he's on the Volkswagen forums all the time.
They know that. That's
Dude,
what I'm.
They know he's on the forums. They know he's all the aftermarket parts that he orders his fucking car. They know on his psychological profile that he's a car guy. Johnny's looking for a car.
I look up Dodge
he's in the
stuff
same
all
location.
the time. We're in the same place. Jetta.
All that information happens instantaneously. They now know we need to place this ad here for Johnny.
Volkswagen is like, oh shit, this is another person who's looking for a car right now. They've been looking at Dodge. They've been looking at all this other stuff. They're talking to someone about a Volkswagen right now, most likely, since someone who always talks about Volkswagens is over and is a friend of his. We should probably show him Volkswagen ads. Maybe we can get him to switch over.
So that's the whole point. They're not listening in. They don't need to listen in because they can do enough deducing and know the odds of this taking place. Don't even need to listen.
It's all a gambling thing. It's all odds. All they have to do is switch it over, saying, "Hey, there's a fucking 10% chance that they talk about this stuff. So let's go ahead and show them these ads."
Well, and I'm sure they have it set up to where like the computer does all the work, the VI does all the work, does all the work, and then it
like instantaneously.
Yeah, and then it just flags certain
somebody just
things whenever they want it. They set it up to where, hey, if this happens, let us know. If this happens, let us know.
But to me personally, that right there is more horrifying than them just listening to what I say.
That's 100% should be illegal. That should never exist.
No, because if that's not regulated, that can become something,
and it's obviously not.
At the end of the documentary, the people that were initially like really deep into Cambridge Analytica were talking about how it's weaponized. They literally talked about how these psychological profiles are now being weaponized because of the influence that you can do to people with it. It's no longer just about advertising. It's not just, how can we get people to know what people want, and we can put the advertisement in front of them for them to buy a product. Now it is, how can we influence him to vote for individuals? How can we?
But voting doesn't.
How can we change their?
Trump used Cambridge Analytica for his campaign
massively. But I mean, if it goes to that, it can only escalate from there.
He still lost the popular vote.
You can now, but the whole point I'm trying to say is, if they can get it down to a science, which human beings are, we're not some perfect fucking thing. You can hack human beings. It's like hacking human beings. It gets to the point to where now they can literally make you do some shit you would have not done on your own for their own benefit. That's why they called it weaponized. And it should be fucking, it's scary as shit. And it needs to be fucking regulated. But the problem is, with all this new computer technology, Elon Musk said it best. The problem is, it's already too much in fucking play, that there's no stopping it, because it's only when it's too late that you bring in the regulations. And it'll be fucking too late by then. We're already too deep. This is a great example of that. Like with the AI and the VI. You say VI? Yeah. Shit's already too late, man. I mean, it's already doing its damage.
There has to be a point. I mean, and I agree with technology and the progression of technology, which I guess eventually. I mean, I agree with how it's helped us.
It's just like anything else. The same thing that can be used for good can be used for fucking evil. It all depends on who's pulling the strings in the back end.
For sure, but we have to, and I guess we have the wrong people at the end of the stick saying, hey, we're going to allow this to happen, because I think for the betterment of human beings, if this is able to be used against us, and this is everyone, this isn't just everyone in the United States or everyone in Europe, this is everyone worldwide, anyone who has technology or a cell phone. I guess the only way around it would be to just have all cash purchases and have no cell phone on you, correct? And even then, I mean, I'm sure
no cell phone, use the internet.
But it's coming to a point now to where it's necessary to survive in this world using these technologies.
For sure, no.
You can't apply for a job without having the internet.
Yeah, you're
so I mean, you
behind.
can apply for smaller. You can go into McDonald's and get a paper application.
Right.
But I mean, in general, most places are doing online applications. Well, like you need the internet these days.
Well, anytime you get hired, they put your social security number in, and at that point, you're in the system. Boom, just like that. I mean, that is as minimal as it would get. It's just that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no.
But anyways, these people. I mean, if I had to choose right now, continue with progression of technology with the way it is in its state right now, or let's halt it, let's stop it, and let's figure something else out. I mean, I would probably go with my second option, man, because this is some scary shit that we're heading into.
But the technology can be used for so much good. You could advance medicine. You could advance, even cell phones. There's nothing like fundamentally wrong with this technology. It's what people are who are inherently kind of evil, who has the potential of evil, who has control over it and can use it for evil. Just like anything else.
Well, it may have not even started out as evil. It was literally just, how can we make money? We want to be successful. We want to make money. And a room of people comes up with this, God, why can I not think of the word? Algorithm and this process and whatnot to be like, this is the most effective form of advertising that has ever been created. This is how we make all the money.
But everybody knows, and it's even biblical. I hate the fact that I still bring up the Bible every now and again, but the Bible says money is the root of all evil. It never says
the want of money.
Yeah, it never says that money is evil, but the excessive want of money clouds your judgment and can definitely have you turn your back on some morality as far as how you treat other people whenever you're out for that kind of money, and that's what it is, and that is a really big melting pot for some evil fucking shit to happen whenever you bring in those scenarios. So it's fucking scary. It's scary. It needs to be regulated, but it's already too late.
Yeah, and as far as regulation goes, they haven't done regulation on it, but they've come out now and said it's public now. It's transparent. Like, you can find this information. Like, this isn't some like hashed together shit that we're making up. Like, you can go out right now and look up everything you want to about Cambridge Analytica, about political campaigns, about advertising.
This is not a conspiracy theory, by the way.
Yeah, no,
this is not a conspiracy theory.
This is real. It's transparent information that you can go out there and find.
Super out there information.
It has been untransparent. Like it's been hidden. It's been in the shadows for the last 10
at
years
its origin,
or
and
so
then
far.
Obviously, whenever it started becoming weaponized, that all of a sudden.
But the point is that it's transparent now and it's scary. But think about the stuff that is still in the shadows right now. Like, we found out about this, 10 years after it's happening, kind of thing. Think about the shit that we'll find out about another 10 years from now.
That whole thing with Zuckerberg, like selling fucking people's information to it was Cambridge Analytica for the purpose of.
So that's you have a governor at a state willing to get rid of tobacco product or a vaping pen for 4 months, but yet this shit is still allowed to happen. Like, that's the most frustrating part. I know, right?
Part, that's why it's almost fucking laughable.
It's
almost. Man. And the actual origin of the whole fucking vaping thing had nothing to do with the Juul Pods that everybody's been fucking using. Yeah.
We're all too comfortable, man. We're all way too comfortable. And I don't think that it's the issue of technology being past the point of turning back. It's us being comfortable is the like you
Well,
said,
they keep us. We talked about it last week,
Yeah.
or maybe 2 weeks ago. They keep us at that. It's that pain versus pleasure thing,
Mhm.
where the pain is there. It's an invisible pain. It's us selling our identities online and selling what we are as a human being, and so on and so forth, for convenience. Oh man, I can fucking get on my phone and not even have to pull my card out of my wallet. I can just boop and do like that to pay with stuff. That's a very small example, but just convenience in everything. It's all about convenience and what all can they do to make our lives easier while at the same time using us as a fucking product.
and controlling us and manipulating us into whatever direction that they feel is, gets them.
And we all
the
talk
best.
about it on this podcast. We all get real hyped about it and everything, but at the end of the day, we still all fucking do it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
You don't do the social
I don't
media.
have
aspect as
social
much.
media, but my shit's honestly for a different reason. It's not even outside of that. Like, I get. I just never. I was never into Facebook.
Yeah, no, I deleted Facebook for like a good year, and then I ended up, whenever I came back to my current job, I ended up getting it again for the job, because we have a page to,
Yeah, it was because I was back when I had like MySpace and Facebook. It was because I was young and I was trying to expand my social circle and go out and have as much fun as humanly possible. I feel now as though I have established enough friends and I enjoy my life enough to where I don't need to expand my social circle anymore.
like Tom Segura says, I'm all friended up. Nope.
Yeah, I'm all friended up.
No good.
Who's Bill? Fuck Bill.
I want you to meet Bill. Fuck Bill.
Fuck
I'm all
Bill.
friended up.
Yeah. But, and social media, man, there can be, just like anything. Anything that can be used for good can also be used for evil. This is the biggest problem with this is that over a long enough period of time, even though people do good, given a long enough period of time, somebody will use it for fucking evil. That's just how humanity works.
I was going to say, that's literally anything. You come
That's
up with
anything.
You take
anything whatsoever.
the CRISPR stuff where they can cut out parts of your DNA strand. It's like they can fix diseases before you're even born with them, kind of thing. Like that exists right now. That's an actual thing. It's super expensive and so on and so forth. But they can target certain
That's eugenics, right?
Yeah, they can target like alcoholism in your family or whatever, and depression and stuff, and like use CRISPR to cut that out of the DNA or whatever, where there's still a chance of it happening, but your chances are dropped tremendously. Right now, that's being used for good, but eventually, man, you just like anything else, like subconsciously or without knowing, you get into some evil shit down the road.
And the most frustrating part about it is, like you said, it's all public knowledge. And a lot of the stuff that we talk about is public knowledge and being aware of what is happening. And I guess ultimately I've asked this question many times, is when are we going to be not okay with the comfortability that's happening within our lives? And when is
I don't think it's going to happen because I think they have figured out.
They have the right amount of system.
Like we talked about, the pain versus pleasure, the convenience versus how much of ourself we're selling.
I know, I understand that, but they're literally threading the line right now.
They are. They're getting as close to the line as they fucking can.
And they're going to fuck up, man. It's going to happen eventually.
Maybe.
It'll be
They've been doing it for a long time.
So just like how I said it's inevitable for there to be good can be used for evil, or something that's good can be used for evil, eventually that's inevitable, that will happen. You're right. Eventually, at some point in a society, because this has happened in every society, somebody gets a little too greedy, somebody gets a little too evil, somebody treats people just shitty enough to where they fucking flip the script, they come back in, they take over, and then they reset it up. And then it goes through the cycle again.
And it makes me
because
wonder.
all we do is cycle through the same shit in history over and over again. Just different decades.
Do you actually even want to be there though for that reset?
No, I don't. But this is some hardcore shit right here. And what happens if this reset's happened multiple times? I mean, allegedly the Earth's 4 billion years old. And allegedly humans have been able to inhabit the Earth for 235 million years. So in those 235 million years, how many times has this truly been able to happen?
Well, just in our history, what we know, we've seen it happen in society with like ancient Rome and all this different stuff where,
That's a small scale to 235 million years.
True, but I'm not going to get into all that because I don't know anything about.
For sure. Graham Hancock, he's found some interesting shit, digging deeper than what you're... Typically, whenever you excavate something, in order to find something deeper in history, you have to dig deeper. You go deeper for deeper.
Are you talking about like the physical, archaeological exploration, or are
no,
you just talking about like
I'm just saying
deeper research within culture and history?
I'm just saying what happens. You guys talk about resets. What's to say that? And I'm not saying what specifically has happened right now is happening. I'm not saying we're repeating our lives over and over again. I'm saying that this Earth has withstood many different civilizations, and it's human beings, and the same thing just occurs over and over again.
Yeah, I think it gets farther along every time.
And maybe it's the natural process of, honestly, how the universe works, because the universe, everything has a starting point and then a dying point. and that's the cycle of life, is that things, like the one thing that's guaranteed is change. No matter what, things will not be the same forever. That's the only guaranteed fucking thing. Eventually, shit's going to change.
What happens if when you're an adult and let's say you turn 16 and you kill someone, you spend life in jail. Everything's the same every day. There's no change.
No.
Even for that individual, they're going to change. That experience that they have in jail will change them. Now, if you're talking about them physically being able to go somewhere, no, that their location.
The jails change too, though. Stuff that
new technologies coming to jails.
Different people.
So that there is no way around it. The one thing that's
ones that they're in
guaranteed
solitary
in life is
confinement 23 hours a day.
It's still, you're talking about one individual though. In general, change.
You're trying
You're
trying to find a loophole. Well, they still age. That's change.
For sure.
I mean,
I'm just trying to go against it. Is all.
Yeah,
no, I know you're trying to find a loophole there,
here,
but it's very difficult to go through. To
no change.
No, the
change
world's
is
not
the one thing that's
stasis.
inevitable.
Everything evolves and changes.
And maybe there is, and this is almost kind of sound like a Hindu fucking thing, but like the evil, the balance between good and evil is actually necessary. Or wait, is that, maybe I'm thinking of Taoism right now. But they talk about how...
Talking about like the yin and yang?
Yeah, the yin and yang, to where there's always this balance between good and evil, and there's always
a little bit of good
in evil, and a little bit of bad in good as well. And this is what kind of how fundamentally our universe works and how it balances itself out. So fuck, man. I don't know. Maybe there are some necessary evils happening, and then shit's gonna balance out, and then maybe a better future comes out of that, and then that's gonna get bad, and then change, and then that's how this whole thing progresses, and then the universe fucking goes on, and then the universe is eventually over, and we still don't know what the fuck we're doing here. Like shit, man. That's what everybody's been trying to figure out this whole time, but nobody can even get close to it.
That's why I
nobody
actually
can
liked
ever get
it.
Fucking close to understanding what's actually.
That's why I like to keep it small
doing.
scale, though, and that's, for example, the perfect example, honestly, of why. Like you talk about the president a lot, and you do a lot more research into that, and you're more interested in that. As to where I've always said, man, it doesn't matter what president we have. It truly doesn't affect me that much. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I like to keep myself small scale, day to day, worry about my friends, family, loved ones, you know what I mean? And just worry about that. And as far as like the betterment of mankind and stuff, yeah, I'm not doing anything on a large scale for the betterment of mankind. I will still be polite to people, though. Hold open the door, let people out of their parking space or or not parking space, but like let someone into traffic, in front of me, that kind of, like just little tiny, small, minute details on a day-to-day basis.
Because that's shit you can control.
Exactly.
You shouldn't be worrying about shit you can't control. If it's outside of your control, don't fucking worry about it.
But I mean, unfortunately, we're in a position to where there are people within this country that we live in that are able to affect your day-to-day. And I know that a lot of the times it hasn't seemed that way. But recently we found out, and I know we've talked about it many times, that we were affected by a president and the law that they had passed. So whenever that happened, that's whenever I got more involved. I've always been involved with politics, but this is when I got super involved. And it's not that I understand within this whole podcast, you guys should understand that I'm within the same agreement with you guys, is that a lot of it's bullshit. We can't do anything about it unless we wanted to be part of it.
You need people like you and people who are better than you, Paul, to actually still exist and try to make change in politics and so on and so forth.
I'm not trying to make change. I'm just trying to be aware of what's going on.
I'm just saying it doesn't. Doesn't need to, like. I don't want to have a defeatist mentality, but like with the Obamacare, like the healthcare thing and stuff, where it's like, hey, you have to pay for this if you don't have healthcare and stuff. I'm like, that sucks. And like I said, maybe it's a defeatist mentality. Maybe I'm being too down on myself. But I'm like, man, there's nothing I can do to affect this. I'm not going to call my congressman. I'm not going to do all this different shit, whatever. I'm literally going to live with it, adapt to it, and change how I live my life according to it on a small scale thing to where I can still hang out with friends and family and do whatever I need to do and go to work and be able to pay my bills and get shit done.
I think for me, it's just being more prepared. Last time I was caught off guard, and this time I just want to be more prepared. I want to be involved in the aspect of knowing that something's going to change my life.
I mean, I wish I was more like that, honestly.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I think as far as the time and energy spent amongst
it's exhausting.
The average American is that they worry about so much shit that they really have super minimal effect on or no effect whatsoever on, when the day-to-day shit that they could do, like being a better human being, being polite to people, like maybe bettering yourself, self-education, like working on yourself, that does so much more for the world than you're worrying about shit you have no effect on or minimal effect and putting all your energy into that shit and talking about that, if that makes any sense.
It does. And hey, for anyone out there, and I'm not suggesting this, I'm not a doctor in any way, shape, or form, nor am I'm just giving you my personal experience. But Jesse, his brother, had just mentioned to me fasting. I tried it for a day and a half, and to me, it did reset my body a little bit. It did help me out physically, mentally. I was a day and a half into the fasting, and my mental state was at a state that I could never imagine, man. Like literally not eating for a day and a half. Right when I was eating that rice and steak that I ate finally after 36 hours, just feeling that change instantly, like within 2 to 3 minutes.
Oh, because your body absorbed it like that. Because your body was just waiting for it.
It was phenomenal, man. It was like this is, I don't know how to explain it. It was like I finally kind of feel like I'm a human being, but like a true human being, because we're hunter gatherers, and I'm sure back in the day people went days without eating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe they ate some berries and shit like that, but not an actual meal. Yeah, it was tough, man. And I just remember walking around like, dude, I can't do it. I gotta eat. I'm gonna eat. There's just food everywhere here.
But that steak and rice was way more satisfying than like a slice of pizza if you had ate pizza 3 days in a row.
And I think that's a little aggressive for that. I mean, and everybody's genetically different whenever it comes to diets. I think everybody has to figure out what works best for them within their diet, because diet has an effect on your mental health, obviously physical. A lot of people don't know this. Like, it can change your mentality. I remember Jordan Peterson talking about how going to an all meat diet or a carnivore diet literally cured him of his depression, like almost 100%, switching over to that diet like very rapidly. So diet, I know that's probably an extreme example, but you got to figure out which diet works for you. You shouldn't be just putting shit into your body all the time, even though I've been doing it lately. but no, intermittent fasting is probably better, to where you only have a 4-hour window. I think it's a 4-hour window every day, to where you can eat this. You can eat food in 4 hours. The rest of the day, no calories whatsoever. There's a lot of success with that.
I could do that, and I've done that before, and I'm all about it, man. It's not. Honestly, like that next day I had a lot of energy, super amounts of energy. It wasn't groggy. I mean, and your brother made a good point. He's like, when you consume food or when you consume carbohydrates, your body has to work to process that. Mm-hmm. So if your body's not doing anything, then it has more energy to. I mean, granted, you have to have food to have energy. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't make sense.
I mean, your body has stored energy. That's what fat is.
Right.
It's primarily fat, and then you have the quick stored energy.
I've got a lot of energy.
Carbohydrate, but the long term is in your fat storage. But no, you might want to just try intermittent fasting, man. That's
we're not doctors. This is a disclaimer. None of us are.
We're not dietitians.
Yeah.
Is the one you want to put out there. That's the one thing that I always had to say, like if ever I had a client, even though that I got my CPT, my certified personal training certification, was that I had to clarify, like I can give them recommendations, but I had to clarify I'm not a dietitian.
Not a dietitian.
Yeah.
Just because my scope of practice
I think
was not so heavy on the actual diet side of it.
For me, we're all in our day-to-days, and everyone wants to try like the quick fix, and they want to do something and they want to see instant result. And it doesn't always end up that way. Like especially with meditating. Like if you want to meditate and you meditate every day for a year straight, I guarantee you're going to get really good at meditating. You're going to get really good at breathing. You're going to be able to, like, your body's just going to overall feel better if you meditate every single day, 365 days a year. If you eat healthy every single day of the year, if you work out every single day of the year, Like, we all know those things. We're just too lazy to do it.
Like you said, we're too interested in instant gratification. I'm guilty of this just as much as anybody else. But it's very much a, like, man, if I told you that for certain, if you were to, like, fast, do intermittent fasting and eat, low amount of calories and eat healthy and all this stuff, and I'm like, yo, in 6 months from now, you'll weigh, 20 pounds less. After 3 weeks of it, though, where you're like, man, I hate doing this. This sucks. I don't enjoy it. And I'm not seeing any results, even though I'm making you a promise that in 6 months you will. It's that instant gratification thing where you're like, I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. I'm not seeing whatever.
Like when I worked out with you, I'm like, when am I going to see results? When am I going to see results? Like week 2, and then that's all I made it to. I made it 2 weeks. I didn't see results, and I'm like, well, fuck it, dude.
Which you know for a
because
fact.
You can't visually see results from working out until 6 months to a year of doing the same routine.
And I'm just not willing to do that, nor do I enjoy working out.
Yeah, if you don't do some shit you don't enjoy, you can still be healthy and not, you don't have to work out. But no, it's a discipline issue, and it's a willpower fucking thing.
Which we were never taught. We were never taught.
Well, that's not something.
Yeah, it's not really something you learn.
I mean, it can be like if you had really strict military parents. I know. Well, honestly, it could go either way. So you're right. It can't be learned. Like some people had military parents that were like, your shit had to be fucking clean, like clean room. Super hardcore military family that just whenever they got out of the house just was a fucking wreck. And just they were absolute slobs because they were like, thank God I can finally be who I'm meant to be. Like, so it could go fucking either way, I guess. But it all comes down to the individual and what you want to get out of this life. You only get one, so you might as well. You're not here for a long time. You're here for a good time.
What happened?
But that doesn't mean going and being an asshole and taking advantage of people either.
True.
Because that's not where true happiness comes from.
Enjoy your life, but help other people enjoy their life.
And that's
as well.
true. And that's honestly where fulfillment and true happiness comes from, is being a good person and helping other people. Like that's super even like proven. The happiest people on the planet don't own very much and end up spending their time helping other people out and doing it charitably. So yeah.
I like it. Well, hey, we're right at the top of the hour, so I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. A lot of good talk right there from Jesse, Johnny, and myself from Talk Junkies. Again, Jordan, thank you for the sign back there, and hit the subscribe button.
Paul's like, what the fuck did I say next here?
Paul's like, where am I right now?
Yeah, fuck.
Whenever you guys walked in to my house, that like passed off on me for a second.
What?
Like you guys were just both like, are we really gonna do this podcast tonight? Jesse and Johnny kind of look out of it. That's just how
I had a rough couple of days
for sure. So hey, everyone, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell notification button. To all our junkies out there,
stay fly and ring the bell.